Hey, what's going on? It's me. Today's December 30th, 2021. Just about hitting the end of the year. And we're getting right now really geared up to get deep into the immune system. And I did a video on my learnings regarding megakaryocytes yesterday, which was pretty awesome because they are the source of all, as a review, the source of all platelets, which are how your blood essentially clots and prevents you from bleeding out, or at least one of the things that prevents you from bleeding out and prevents blood from getting into your intracellular space and whatnot. And today I'm jumping around a bit because I was just interested in this topic. I'm going to get more organized as the days go on and the videos get more specific and in order of the learning process, the syllabus, the typical syllabus of the immune system learning process. But for now, I'm just going to talk about IL1, ILB1, IL1B, or IL1 beta, known as interleukin-1 beta, which is probably one of the most well-known and famous interleukins or cytokines, which are produced by macrophages in your body through your immune process. So what is the point of interleukin-1? So I found some nice diagrams which kind of like break down simply what's going on there. And IL-1, this is from another YouTube video, but IL-1 promotes capillary permeability, vasodilation, and endothelial activation. Now, what are all these? So basically, when you get a cut or something, right, and you need your immune system or your mast cells to kind of start doing things to allow other immune cells to come to the area of the infection or the entry point of the infection, which is the wound, and start doing things. Some of these things are opening up your capillaries, or allowing your capillaries to be more porous so that immune cells can more easily flow to the site of the infection, because that's basically what's happening, right? They're physically blocked, so they need to be able to kind of easily, it's like a police officer crossing lanes, right? So when those police officers are activated, that's kind of like the capillaries have sort of opened up. The police officers cross, the capillaries in those cases are kind of opened up anyway, but police officers will signal traffic, etc., and allow more cops to be able to get to the area of incident quicker. Vasodilation is a similar process, except it's with your large blood vessels, including capillaries. So vasodilation, interleukin-1 promotes the expansion of your blood cells. So again, more immune cells, platelets, other things can get to the site of inflammation or get to the site of injury, which is a part of inflammation, or the inflammatory cascade, rather. And then also endothelial activation. So your endothelium lines your blood vessels, right? And what they mean by endothelial activation is that it gets stickier, right? So white blood cells can stick to your endothelium better and stay there and do their several behaviors to reduce your immune system or increase your immune system effectiveness against pathogens that are entering through the cut. So the thing is, IL-1 is super important because it is essentially associated with inflammation. It also essentially indirectly causes fever, which is a good thing when you have pathogens, right? Everyone hates fevers, but fevers are important because essentially what's going to happen is that the fever is an effect of inflammation, which increases your body temperature, which is intolerable for many pathogens, right? Like the hotter it is, the higher a higher strain is put on bacteria cells, and for instance, or parasites, for instance, and those are then die quicker, right? And then your body can withstand that because your body cells has other cells kind of helping each other prevent degeneration due to fever conditions and high pyrogenic conditions. So that's essentially what that is. And then just kind of like looking at, how the interleukins are essentially a family of cytokines, right? And these cytokines, I'll get into cytokine specific later, but cytokines are released and they're also intercepted by white blood cells and macrophages. And this is kind of like, I only put this diagram up to kind of show how the receptors are kind of spaced on the cellular membrane, right? So these are these IL receptors, and you have all the different ILs. There's like, I guess, I don't know how many of them. There's like 18 here listed, 36. There's innumerable numbers of interleukins, and I would think that this is super complicated, but your body is very complicated, so what can you do? Right, so again, interleukin. By the way, an interesting thing about how fever is initiated through interleukins is that essentially the interleukin concentration affects stimulation of prostaglandin in your brain, and prostaglandin is then intercepted by your hypothalamus, and then the hypothalamus lowers the fever point, or lowers the temperature at which fever conditions occur in your body. So it's really interesting how that happens. Probably, temperatures increase faster, and then activation of fever detectors in your body, or fever initiators, then react to that lower temperature point. So it's in your brain, it happens, but it's interesting because it affects your entire body that way, which kind of makes sense. But see, fever-producing property of human leukocytic pyrogen interleukin-1 was purified in 1977 at an activity of 10 to 20 nanograms. So it's actually pretty recent that this was detected. And so there's a lot here. I'm going to continue to jump around the immune system, but this is super quick introduction to interleukin-1, and hope it was informative, and you have so much more reading that you can do on your own, but we will continue later on.